I'm Julian Speaks. This is a Heart to Heart Monday, our weekly space where we have honest conversations about love, relationships, healing, self-worth, and emotional experiences that many people quietly carry in their hearts. And if you're new here, welcome. Let me remind you that this is a voice podcast only, so you don't need to get your eyes glued on the screen. And whether you're driving to work, enjoying your morning coffee, taking a walk while your headphone on or headset on, or winding down after a long day, I'm really grateful that you are here today. When Julian Speaks, for some people who is actually new here, this is a place where we talk honestly about things that many people experience but don't always discuss openly. So it's like the relationship questions, the heartbreaks, we talk about the lessons, and most importantly, the healing and the wisdom that often comes from experiences that we never expected to have. So wherever you are listening today or from today, thank you for joining me in. Today's Heart to Heart Monday episode is called The Red Flags We Ignore Because We Want Love So Badly. Okay. Now, before we begin, I want to say something important. Every single one of us has ignored a red flag at some point, right? And every one of us has overlooked something we probably shouldn't have. And this is not about judging ourselves. This is not about criticizing people who stayed. And this is about understanding why it happens. Because often it isn't lack of intelligence. It's not a weakness. It's not foolishness. And sometimes it's just simply hope or loneliness. Or sometimes it's just a deep desire to be loved. And when those emotions are involved, we don't always see situations clearly, right? So what we're going to do is we'll talk about it. On our first segment is when we want something, we see what we want to see. I know. And have you ever noticed how easy it is to overlook something when you're excited? Think about it. When you're hopeful about someone, we naturally focus on their best qualities. We notice the chemistry, the connection, the conversations, the attention that they give to us, the way they make you feel, right? And while all those things matter, they can sometimes distract us from other things that matter even more. Their character, the consistency, the respect, the emotional maturity, the accountability. And when emotions become strong, objectivity often becomes weak, right? And there's where red flag starts slipping through unnoticed, or perhaps more accurately, not unnoticed, not acknowledged. Because many times we see the red flags, but we just continue ourselves. They're not that serious, right? So what are the difference between a flaw and a red flag? Let's clarify something on that. Nobody is perfect. Every human has flaws. Every human being. We all make mistakes. We all have insecurities. We all have areas where we were growing. A flaw is not automatically a red flag. For example, being nervous isn't a red flag. Being shy, it's not a red flag. Having occasional disagreement is not a red flag. Being imperfect isn't a red flag. A red flag is different. It's a warning sign. It's a pattern that suggests future problems. A behavior that consistently undermines trust, the safety, the respect, or emotional well-being. The key word here is pattern, I would say. Because healthy relationships don't require perfection, but they do require awareness of unhealthy patterns. Okay, let's enumerate these things. All right, so let's just say red flag number 1. They show who they are, but you believe their potential instead. Right? You believe their potential. So this is one of the most common mistakes people make, I would say. They fall in love with someone or with someone's potential, not their reality. Maybe the person is inconsistent, but you focus on their good moments. Maybe they're emotionally unavailable, but you focus on the connection you feel. Right? And maybe they avoid accountability, but you focus on who they could become. The relationship becomes based on future possibilities rather than the present realities. And that's dangerous because relationships happen in the present, not in the future version that you've imagined. And one of the hardest lessons in life is accepting people for who they are rather than who they hope they'll become. Right? I got one example here. Let's talk about Emma. So Emma met someone who was charming, funny, and incredibly attentive in the beginning. And the connection felt immediate. The chemistry was undeniable, but there was one problem. He often disappeared for days without explanation. Then he would return as though nothing happened. You know, when friends expressed concern, Emma defended him. You know, he's just busy. He's just going through a lot. He'll get better. You know, months turned into years, and the pattern never changed. You know, and the problem wasn't that Emma didn't see the behavior. She did. The problem was she kept on focusing on potential instead of the pattern. Like eventually she realized something painful. The person she was waiting for didn't exist. The reality was already in front of her, and that lesson many people learned the hard way. Let's proceed to red flag number 2. They make you feel responsible for their behavior. This is where manipulation goes in as well, right? So this one can be subtle. You know, this can be subtle. And every time they hurt you, somehow you end up apologizing. Everyone conflicts becomes your fault. You know? And every concern that you raise gets turned back into you. You start questioning your own perspective. You start wondering if you're too sensitive, too emotional, demanding, difficult. And over time, this can become emotionally exhausting. Because instead of addressing problems together, you're carrying your responsibility that isn't yours to carry. You know, healthy relationships involve accountability from both people, not just one. Alright, so let's pause for a moment and think about a time when you ignored a warning sign. You don't have to judge yourself for it though, just simply reflect. And what did you tell yourself at that time? You know, did you believe things would improve? Did you think love would change the situation? Did you worry that speaking up would end your relationship? Because many times our explanations reveal more than the behavior itself, because understanding why we ignored something that can help us avoid repeating the pattern. Think about those questions. Ask yourself. Let's proceed with red flag number 3. They disrespect your boundaries. This is a major red flag for me. A healthy people may not always understand your boundaries immediately, you know? but they would respect them. And that's the difference. Someone who cares about you may ask questions. They may need clarifications, but they don't repeatedly ignore your limits. If you say no, they keep pushing. Pay attention. You know, if you express discomfort and they dismiss it, pay attention. If they repeatedly violate agreements, pay attention. Boundaries are not walls. They're guidelines for healthy interaction. Right? And people who genuinely care about you will definitely respect them. So, I got another listener stories. Let's call him Daniel. And Daniel was excited about a new relationship. Everything seemed perfect. And the conversations were great. The connection felt strong. And there was one recurring issue. His partner constantly mocked him in front of the others. So whenever Daniel brought it up, the response was always like, I was only joking, you know, you're too sensitive. Can you take a joke? You know? And at first Daniel ignored them. He didn't want to create a conflict. But over time, the jokes became more frequent, more personal, more hurtful. Eventually, he realized something important. Humor isn't an excuse for disrespect. Keep that in mind, everyone. Humor isn't an excuse for disrespect. And affection doesn't cancel out humiliation, so a healthy relationship should feel emotionally safe, not emotionally risky. Think about it, everyone. And let's proceed on red flag number 4. Their words and actions don't match. And this is commonly happen all the time in relationships. Believe me. And one of the most valuable pieces of relationship advice I can offer is this, you know? Pay attention to actions. Because every word matters. And, you know, but actions reveal the truth and sometimes can promise commitment. They can promise the change. They can promise the effort. They can promise anything. But eventually, actions tell us the real story. Do they follow through? You know, do they keep their commitments? Do they consistently show up? Because trust is built through repeated actions over time and not occasional promises. You know, so let's be honest, everyone. Loneliness can make us vulnerable, not weak, human. You know, when people have been alone for a long time, they sometimes become more willing to overlook behavior they normally question. And the desire for connection becomes stronger than the desire of quality. And that's understandable, but it's also risky because loneliness very often whispers us something is better than nothing. Yet every relationship is better than being alone, right? So some relationships create far more loneliness than solitude ever could. And that's worth remembering. As we moved on to the red flag number 5, you constantly feel anxious. You know, this doesn't mean that the relationships never create anxiety. Every meaningful connections involve vulnerability. But ask yourself, people, how do you feel most of the time? I've asked this myself, like, do I feel secure? You know, do I constantly feel uncertain? Do I feel respected? Or do I constantly feel confused? Do I feel valued? Or do I spend most of my time seeking reassurance? Healthy relationships may have difficult moments, but they shouldn't feel like emotional chaos for every day. Constant anxiety is often information, not something to ignore. So please keep in mind the cost of ignoring the red flags. Every ignored red flags has a cost. Sometimes it will cost your time, your emotional energy, your confidence, your self-trust, and one of the most saddest consequences is this: the longer we ignore what we know, the harder it becomes to trust ourselves. That's why listening to your intuition matters, not blindly, not impulsively, but respectfully. Your feelings deserve attention. Your concerns deserve exploration. Your observation deserves consideration. And before we finish today's episode, I'd like to leave you with a few questions. This is just for you to reflect and think about your current relationships or your last relationships. What is the warning sign, or what warning signs did you notice early on? What explanations did you give to yourself? Why were you seeing reality or possibility? Were you paying attention to the patterns or promises? And perhaps the most important question is, if your best friend described these relationships to you, what advice you would give them? Sometimes the question provides remarkable clarity. Sometimes if we were on the situation, we might not see it, but the other person or close to us who knows the story, who knows all the information about our relationship, they could see it. So the goal for today's conversation is not to make anyone fearful of the relationships. Definitely not. And it's not to encourage suspicion. It's not to suggest that people cannot grow. People absolutely can grow. People absolutely can change. But healthy relationships requires honesty. And the honesty means paying attention to what is actually happening. Not only what we hope will happen. Love is beautiful, but love should never require us to ignore the reality. In fact, healthy love becomes stronger when it is built on reality, not fantasy, not wishful thinking. Reality. Everyone, thank you so much for joining me on another Heart to Heart Monday here on When Jillian Speaks. I hope today's conversation reminded you that paying attention to red flags isn't negativity. It's self-respect, it's wisdom. It's one of the ways we protect our hearts while remaining open to healthy love. So if today's episode resonated with you, if you get related on one of our stories or example stories that I've shared, please consider sharing it with someone who you think may need to hear this. Feel free to listen to When Jillian Speaks on YouTube, Spotify, and Amazon Music, so whichever you're comfortable listening to. Definitely it is available on those three social media platforms. And of course, if you would like to share your own story or anonymous story, submissions form can be found through our Facebook page. And if you'd like to support our podcast, please grab a copy of my first book, available on Amazon.com and through our website, which is whenjillianspeaks.com.au. The book is called The Space I Never Gave Myself, and there will be an incoming one as well, my second book, to be published anytime soon of this month, and hopefully it will be supported by you guys. I would truly appreciate that. And thank you for spending your part of your day with me. Please do always take care of your heart. Trust yourself. Pay attention to the patterns. Don't forget. And remember, sometimes the warning signs we ignore at the beginning become the reason we live in the end. This is Julian, and you've been listening to When Julian Speaks. I'll talk to you on the next Heart to Heart Monday.